Hey there folks, Rel here. Today we're going to be offering up some pointers on how to save and gather energy for your implants in PlanetSide 2. And as it stands, if you're a decent player who finds good fights the vast majority of the time, then you can probably sustain a tier 1 implant without an issue and you'll never run out of energy. But given the recent decrease to implant and charger drop rates, who knows if that trend will continue. Likewise, if you're new to the game, or if you can only play during off-peak hours, or if you're just trying to run a tier 2 or tier 3 implant and notice that your energy reserves are dipping below where you'd like them to be, maybe this video can give you some helpful advice. Before we get started though, I'm going to briefly outline how implants actually work. So if you press the escape key, you're going to be brought to your character screen, and from there you can click on the button for the nanocycler, which is where you can craft implants and recycle them for energy. If you're curious about how to do that, then click the help button at the top of the screen and it'll give you an easy breakdown. One of the things that you can do on the screen if you're ever iffy about dealing with the implant system overall is to just click on the auto recharge button, which means that every time you're about to run out of energy, it'll automatically use one of the chargers in your inventory. This kind of goes against the conservation mentality, but if you don't want to fiddle with the system, then it's a good way to go. Next, we're going to head over to the class loadout screen and click on the implant slot here. Every player is automatically given the enhanced targeting implant by default. It's yours to keep and you can't destroy it. So if you'd like to equip the implant, you just click on it and there you go. If you do have an implant equipped in your current loadout and your character is alive, you're going to be losing energy at a rate of 0.75, 1, or 1.5 energy per second depending on the tier of the implant. If your character is dead or if you redeploy, you stop using up energy. And this leads me to my first tip. If you're running an implant, redeploy whenever there's no combat going on. Alternately, you can type /suicide, which is faster, but it also counts as a suicide, and whether you care about that or not is up to you. So you can redeploy with the U key by default whenever there's no reason to be alive, and from there you can redeploy to somewhere else on the map, or even redeploy to the same base, but after unequipping your implant, or switching to a loadout that doesn't have one equipped. And that's sort of the next tip. Use implants when they can actually benefit you. So if you're running around on flat ground for the majority of the time, you probably don't have to have an implant equipped that reduces fall damage. If you're playing with a squad and there are good medics nearby, you probably don't need to use the implant that regenerates your health over time. Better yet, it might be worthwhile just having a loadout slot without an implant equipped at all, just so that you can quickly use a terminal or an AMS sunderer to quickly switch out in the heat of combat, or just so that you don't have to constantly equip and unequip implants all the time. So that's energy conservation in a nutshell. Redeploy when there are no immediate battles, use an implant that tailors to your specific situation, and have a loadout slot that doesn't have an implant in it at all, just for easy access. Number 4 would probably just be to not use implants ever, but quite frankly that is a little bit silly, as running even the default enhanced targeting implant can be a great boon to your experience gain because the information it provides is very valuable. As far as energy gathering goes, there are two main things that I would like to bring to light. Right now, as far as anyone can tell, implants are rolls that are triggered during each tick of experience. So every time you get some experience, someone behind the scenes is rolling the dice for you. However, it's also been mentioned from the devs that basically, more experience is a good thing. Higby had mentioned that bigger experience events like alerts or base captures will weigh the rolls. I know that I've actually received a tier 2 implant drop from an alert in the past, so there's definitely something to be said about being a part of alerts and base captures and that sort of thing. Also, Radar X mentioned something in the forums that alluded to memberships not directly affecting implant drops, which would mean that it's the base experience value that counts, not the bonus experience multipliers that are stacked on top of it. But when all is said and done, there hasn't been any detailed testing as of yet, so we can't really say for sure which method is going to offer up the most chargers and implants for the amount of time spent. For the time being though, out of personal experience and listening to the account of others, a good rule of thumb is to play a support class like the engineer or the medic, particularly the engineer, and try to maximize the number of experience events that you receive. Engineers have their ammo box and their repair tool, which means a constant stream of experience events as long as you're putting yourself in the right situations. Medics can generally earn more experience per revive, but they have less experience events overall, or at the very least they require more specific situations in order to gain a lot from them. After all, people do tend to reload their weapons more than they tend to die. Infiltrators with motion sensors or recon darts may also be able to pull off a lot of experience events, but only in bigger battles. Deployed Sunderers and Scout Radar flashes are also a good stream of experience events, but the actual amount of experience gained from these methods are minimal. However, since they're also incredibly useful for assaulting bases anyway, you'll hopefully be able to grab the capture experience as well. So in short, play a support class and also go for high experience events. The last bit of advice regarding energy gathering comes from crafting chargers. Through normal play, the chargers that drop give you 800 energy, but if you decide to craft a charger, so if you combine a tier 1 implant and a tier 2 implant, you can recycle them to create a supercharger, which is 3600 energy. And if you decide to combine a tier 2 and a tier 3 implant, you'll get an ultracharger worth 24,000 energy. It currently takes the equivalent of 5 tier 1 implants to make a tier 2, and the equivalent of 25 tier 1 implants to make a tier 3. That said, if you're crafting a supercharger, it's going to cost you the equivalent of 6 tier 1 implants to produce 3600 energy, which equates to 600 energy per implant. But if you save up and you craft an ultracharger, it's going to cost you the equivalent of 30 tier 1 implants to produce 24,000 energy, but you'll get 800 energy per implant out of it. So you're getting about 33% more energy per tier 1 if you save up for one big hit, one ultracharger, instead of making multiple smaller chargers. Now, saving up for a bigger charger won't help you out of an immediate energy situation, but it should be the goal that you aim for while you pace your implant use until the time comes. If this video has been interesting, helpful, or entertaining, please feel free to like, subscribe, tell your friends about the channel, and if you have any ideas for energy conservation, feel free to share those in the comments section down below. Thanks very much, folks. We're all signing off.